Dozens of special agents in a unit of Immigration and Customs Enforcement will be equipped with body cameras in the new year. A senior ICE official shared the details of the 6-month pilot program with our Nicole Sganga ahead of the official announcement. The program was mandated by Congress, but it's getting some pushback from union representatives. And Nicole is joining me now to discuss more of what she uncovered in her reporting. Hello, Nicole. Give us more information about who is getting these body cameras and why now.
Hi, Jesse. Good to be with you. 55 special agents are going to be outfitted for body cameras in the new year. It's part of a 6-month-long pilot program that's been mandated by Congress. Agents in these sort of SWAT teams that are stationed at what's called Homeland Security Investigations offices in New York, Newark, New Jersey, and Houston will be outfitted for these cameras. They'll be mounted to their vest, their shirt, or their helmet, and required to turn them on during pre-planned law enforcement operations. So that includes execution of search warrants, pre-planned arrests, and interrogation of suspects. And the short answer to why is this happening now is that the use of body-worn cameras was mandated as part of Congress's fiscal year 2021 appropriations bill. Now, ICE asserts that it's also rolling out this small pilot program in the spirit of providing greater transparency about the work of its agents. But as you alluded to, the body-worn cameras will not immediately be allocated to one side of the agency, not yet at least. Enforcement and removal operations, ERO officers, those are the officers responsible for immigration enforcement raids, operation of ICE detention facilities, and prosecution of undocumented immigrants subject to deportation. They'll get these cameras later on, according to senior ICE officials I've spoken with. An additional 55 officers based in Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Salt Lake City will be granted them as part of this pilot pending negotiations with the National ICE Council. That's the AFL-CIO affiliated ERO union.
And we know ICE has come under lots of criticism over the past couple years. So how are they intending to use this footage, and then will it be accessible to the public?
Yeah, great question, Jesse. The footage will be subject to Freedom of Information Act requests and available to defense lawyers in criminal cases during the discovery process, according to senior officials I've spoken with at the agency. They'll also be used in training to show other officers preparing to go out in the field some real-life response efforts. And these videos will be particularly helpful when questions about use of force arise. You alluded to this earlier. That's just the method or amount of physical restraint used by officers to force individuals to comply. And there have been reports of excessive use of force inside ICE detention centers, especially amid the pandemic. It has resulted in internal investigations and closing down of a few facilities. So similar to what we've seen with local and state law enforcement, now ICE is going to be able to, at least in part, rewind the tape to say, was this justified? But since this is a pilot program after the course of 6 months, the 110 officers here will be used as sort of a small sample size to evaluate the effectiveness of the equipment, the overall cost of operations. ICE says they'll release a summary of the findings before rolling out the body cameras on a larger scale. We're going to hold them to that.
ICE is not the first federal law enforcement agency to issue body-worn cameras. What are they expecting to learn from other agencies?
Yeah, this pilot is the first of its kind for ICE, but it's certainly not the first for law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement. In August, we saw the Biden administration greenlight 6,000 body cameras for U.S. border agents in a massive operational change for CBP. The Department of Justice also announced earlier this year that its federal agents, so that's officers from ATF, the Drug Enforcement Administration, FBI, Marshal Service, they'd be required to wear these body cameras when executing search warrants or making pre-planned arrests. And Jesse, for many years, we should point out, many of the nation's 18,000 law enforcement agencies on the state and local levels have already made the switch to wearing body cameras. Experts tell me here, though, the proof will really be in the pudding. The real test will be, how good are the policies long term once this program is rolled out to the larger workforce.
How are current and former officials reacting to this news?
Yeah, well, I spoke to Chris Crane, the president of the Union for Officers Falling Under Enforcement and Removal Operations. He told CBS that while the organization is open to exploring this possible pilot program, they're opposed to the agency's planned timeline, the rollout. Crane called the timeline ridiculous, reckless, irresponsible, adding that we don't know enough about the feasibility of body camera use at ICE. Meanwhile, some former officials I've spoken with who have worked at ICE before at senior levels saying that this is a policy that's long overdue, that this move is welcomed. You know, it's been welcomed by many of the advocates I've spoken with that are seeking greater transparency in federal law enforcement. And ICE, frankly, is an agency that is often seen by both sides of the aisle as doing too much or too little. So there is a sense here that holding officers accountable with these cameras will be to the benefit of the populations they often encounter, including more vulnerable ones, asylum seekers, for instance. But there's also a sense that in many cases, these cameras could be used to shed light on the training, some of the good practices and serious obstacles faced by ICE's workforce, and hopefully be used to make much needed improvements within the agency to the benefit of both law enforcement and the communities they serve.
Yeah, looking at how many of the local agencies have these body-worn cameras, it's not a complete surprise that it's made it to the federal level. But given that this is a pilot program, Nicole, when can we expect the agency to roll out the cameras on a larger scale like you were talking about before?
Yeah, Jesse, this is a very narrow program, 110 officers over the course of 6 months. And when I say a small sample size, I mean small. ICE has more than 20,000 staff in more than 400 offices in the U.S. and 46 foreign countries. So after the 6 months here ends, officials say they'll evaluate the merits and costs of the program before expanding, and will certainly be following up with more reporting on these efforts to provide law enforcement officers with the tools they need and also to hold them accountable.
Nicole, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.